All right, so Luke, you're up here in freezing cold Brisbane at the moment. Just looking at the Opals and Boomers team. You just had a look at the Opals, and I guess what are your initial thoughts?
I'm always impressed when I go to any national training camp at the skill level across the board, and today was no exception. There's some beautifully skilled girls out there, a lot of height, a lot of athleticism. I'm looking forward to the game tomorrow. I'll be really be able to see. Obviously, some players look great in drills, some players look great in games, some players look good in live action in practice, and we saw a bit of that today. Some girls, really stood out. But we'll see what happens in the game tomorrow.
What do you think it is about the Opals program that's made it so successful in the past? And obviously there's a lot of talent that's been coming through in the last sort of 10, 15 years, 20 years even. What is it about that group coming through that has been the secret to their success?
Yeah, obviously it's been a special group. There's some special players have come through, but from the outside, and I'm very much from the outside, it looks like consistency's been a real strength of the Opals. They seem to have had a lot of the players coming back and making commitments to the team over long periods of time. Coaching staff stable. They just seem to run a very consistent program. That always leads to results.
Looking at the Boomers program, in the last few years, and obviously they've played their last tournament without Bogut, and he's sort of out at the moment. Where do their strengths lie in particular, and what are the things that they need to probably focus on to achieve success from what you've seen moving towards FIBA Oceania and then London?
Well, I haven't seen a lot of the Boomers. The Boomers that I saw against China a month or so ago was a very preliminary squad. You can't base any national program on one player, Bogut or no Bogut. I think the Boomers have got a lot of talent. There's a lot of depth. There's just the world basketball stage is pretty potent at the moment. There's a lot of teams with good players. So what do they need to do? I think take a leaf out of the Opals book with that consistency, getting guys to make commitments to come back through the camps, through the preparation periods, the tours, those sorts of things. I think they make a huge difference, and that's one of the things the Opals have done well, and I think the Boomers are going to be trying to do well this year as well.
Yeah. Looking at, I guess, your era, looking at the Boomers teams and the sort of side that it was throughout your playing days, there were a lot of really strong bigs and really sort of pure shooting guards, and I guess from memory there was a lot of talk so close to meddling so often that there was this idea that we needed to get more athletes in the team, and it feels like that movement's happened, but it hasn't achieved that success. Have we tried to create basketball players that, as Australians, we're not suited to? We win games when we have those great shooters and those big, strong players on the block. Is that what we sort of need to start thinking about?
Well, athletes don't win games. Hoopers do, or ballers do, or whatever you want to call them. Guys that know how to play, know the clock, score scenarios, all that sort of thing. Those, and I think the guys that were with me in my generation, Andrew Gaze is great at finishing games, obviously. But we did have a lot of balance through the squad, as you say. We had strong bigs, defensive guys. I think that was our success. We had nice balance. If the program's focused more on athleticism, then that's good, because athleticism helps. But basketball, I'm sounding a bit trite, aren't I? But players, that's what wins games.
Yeah. There are obviously a couple of players that are well established internationally, and there's some new kids that are starting to really make a name for themselves. You got Liz Cambage and Patty Mills, who's broken through the NBA and he's trying to solidify that. And then you've obviously got Bogut and Jackson and Penny Taylor, who are well and truly established. For those players that are just starting to crack into the big leagues overseas, what sort of things would they be experiencing looking back to your career, and what are the sort of the emotions that you sort of go through in the first couple of years away from home on a big stage like that?
Certainly when I first broke into the American big stage, if you like, I felt the weighted expectation of my country. There was only one of me. There's a few of them, but they're still few and far between. So there is a lot of expectation there. It is also a different level. The guys are bigger, faster, stronger, smarter. It just is a different level, and so that's overwhelming initially too. When you realise that everyone on the court and everyone down the bench is a stud. You know, there's not one or two studs like you might find in an international tournament or something per team. Everyone's a stud. And I think that's the biggest adjustment. You know, it takes the game to another level, and it takes a while to get used to that.
I actually saw a 60 Minutes report from a long time ago about yourself, and I think you were about 23 when they did that story, when you just made it. And something I noticed about the way you carried yourself was you seemed to be really grounded, and despite the fact that you were sort of a pioneer for Australians going over there, you seem to have your head around the situation. Did that help? You know, that sort of attitude, that mindset, help you through that period, and maybe through the tough times over there as well.
I think being grounded and it's, you know, I think being Australian even, you know, helps a lot. I think, but I have also noticed that arrogance often goes hand in hand with excellence. And unfortunately, maybe I wasn't arrogant enough. I don't know. But it just takes a bit of both, you know. And I think certainly that Australian background, which is by its nature a grounded sort of a background, will help them get by over there. But they need to carry a little bit of that arrogance as well.
Yeah. What were some of the reasons why you felt you were grounded? You have your good family support, good friends over there helping you through those periods, and are those things important?
Yeah, well, I kept in close touch with my family and friends back in Australia, and that grounded me. I was also getting smashed the first couple of years. That'll ground you pretty fast as well. So yeah, I didn't get too carried away with it, and it's probably just, yeah, I think just my nature.
Has the sport changed a lot at the top level since you stopped playing, from what you've seen?
I think it has. I've been away from the sport a lot. I retired under unfortunate circumstances with an injury and just sort of left the game alone for a while. And starting to revisit a bit more now and get around the sport a lot, and it certainly seems to be played. Unfortunately, the guards have taken over. You know, it's a very guard-dominated sport these days, and we've got to shift that back and get the bigs more involved.
Give us little guys a chance.
Well, they're getting all the chances they need at the moment, but yeah, no, look, it's definitely faster. Defensively, the teams are much more aggressive than when I was playing. That was sort of just starting to happen more. You know, but it's, you know, every team is defensively aggressive and assertive now, and that's changing the game for sure.
And I guess just finally, you know, what is Australian basketball from what you see? I don't know, you've been away from it for a bit, but you know, moving in the right direction. A lot of countries are chasing the Americans. They're close. You look at these international tournaments, and it's not like what it was, you know, 15 years ago. You know, is Australia right on the cusp from what you can see, and are we doing the right things to stay at the top of the pack?
Yeah, I think the playing field has levelled a lot. Certainly with America and other countries, and Australia's right there in the mix. In terms of what it will take to get over the final hurdle, I don't know the answer to that, but I do know that it seems like there's, you know, the league here is stabilised, and you have to have a good domestic league. The funding's there. You know, the people administering the sport are focused on the elite level as well. So all the pieces are in place. Sometimes it just comes down to a bit of luck and the roll of the ball. But we certainly got the players, and I like the look of Australian basketball at the moment.